Yeah, mate.
Can you help me with my homework?
What's the problem, mate?
Joyce's made the paper again today.
Can you be careful of Bella, please?
I've been with Qantas for 26 years, actually, the other day.
23 and a half years. My husband also works for Qantas. He's been there for 19 years.
I love the job. My dad worked there, my uncle worked there, my two brothers worked there.
My father was there for almost 30 years.
You need to draw like above if you're...
The way they're taking the company, there won't be a company for the younger people behind us.
A lot of young pilots were looking to become a Qantas captain. That dream is fast disappearing.
And it's sad, it's very sad.
Alan Joyce, Qantas CEO, recently held the Australian community to ransom when he shut down Qantas in a tactical move to force the government and Fair Work Australia to intervene in its long-running industrial dispute with a number of unions.
I've been involved in the negotiations now for 7 months.
3 unions are up for their negotiations on their EBA. Pilots, the engineers and the TWU.
We've bargained in good faith from day one. They waited till the last month of negotiations before they put 2 deals on the table, which were unrealistic.
Fuelled by a desire to outsource and send Australian jobs offshore, Joyce and his board left 70,000 passengers stranded.
We did not delay one aeroplane, apart from safety-related issues, throughout that whole time that we were carrying out protected industrial action.
When the courier came to drop off his lockout letter, actually Arthur asked, how many of these have you actually distributed? He said, about 3,000. And I asked him, how long ago did you know? And he said, well, we've known for about 10 days because we bid for the jobs. So it was all pre-planned.
We saw what effect it has on the Australian economy. $250 million a day without Qantas flying.
Fair Work Australia said the union's industrial actions alone did not constitute a threat to the national economy, but the action of Qantas management did.
Every dollar generated through the aviation industry generates $3 in the local economy.
Recently, despite a pre-tax profit of $522 million, Qantas announced 1,000 job losses.
250 pilots were threatened with redundancy.
Their wages aren't going backwards. They're the ones on the big money, not us.
I guess it all began in 2003 when Jetstar started as a low-cost subsidiary. Our pilots weren't able to access those jobs. A pilot can be based in Singapore instead of Melbourne and can fly into Australia and back to Singapore, and therefore bypassing Australia's Fair Work Act.
Qantas created its own ground handling company, it's called QGS, and they're paid at a lower rate and different conditions to us. So you'll actually create a 2-tier system, but in the end, the lower scale rate will take over where we are.
Outsourcing and offshoring our jobs for cheaper labour, it's corporate greed.
What we could see is aircraft based in Singapore flying to Australia, and all the Australians do is provide catering and fuel, and the aircraft leaves again, providing very, very few jobs for Australians.
It's the baggage handlers, the engineers, the flight attendants, the office workers. We're the ones that sacrificed our lives and families to keep this company going.
Michael, can you get my socks, please?
There are 35,000 Qantas employees, 35,000 families who directly depend on Qantas for their livelihood.
Yeah, I've got 2 children, very active children.
During winter, I coach Luke's under-8 soccer team.
These are not just jobs for today, they're jobs for tomorrow, for our kids and their kids.
Pretty much got my job when I left school. And they say, you're still at Qantas. Fantastic. But we're getting to a point where that's not fantastic anymore.
They keep talking about money and conditions. It's not about that, it's about our job security. We've offered them pay freezes, we've offered them lower scale entry rates, but they just want to get rid of us, mate.